G'day fellas, and welcome back. I do realise it's been a couple of weeks since I last made a video, and well, I do apologise. Life has just been getting busy, and I mean, if you've ever been university, college, whatever, you understand how the assignments are going. But anyways, today I just wanted to showcase a game here I had. Literally, this was the day before patch day dropped, and this is in the Utrecht. The new tier 10, well, at this time relatively new tier 10 light cruiser to the game, and it's Dutch tier 10. And I've really been enjoying this thing. It's got its own fair share of strengths and weaknesses, but this thing has been a lot of fun to be playing, and it's honestly become one of my favorite tier 10 light cruisers in general at the moment. Now, if you know me, I do actually really enjoy playing my light cruisers. I'm not the greatest in them, but I do love playing stuff like my Gina, my Colbert, my Worcester. I mean, Worcester was my first tier 10. And now we've got the Utrecht as well to join amongst some of those other tier 10 light cruisers as well. So what does this ship bring to the table? Well, you've got a limited number of consumables, putting it straight out there. You've only got speed boost, which is a basic speed boost, and you've got a heal, as well as obviously DCP. You don't have anything hugely special. You don't like get a smoke or anything like that. You don't get hydro, you don't get DFAA. You've literally just got speed boost, heal, DCP. What else do you get with this ship? You get these 128mm caliber guns. As you can see here, there's 6 of them, 6 turrets here on the ship. They're all twin guns. But one of the things that's nice about this ship is you've actually got 32 mils a pen, I believe, on this ship as base, which is really quite nice, because it means you don't need to spec IFHE on this thing, and it means you can already full pen on stuff like battleship bow plating and like some heavy cruiser armor plating, because there's a lot of heavy cruisers these days that I would say have 30mm armor plating on the side, and being able to just raw pen that with HE is actually really quite nice. The rate of fire of these guns is actually pretty solid, as you can see. I mean, it's a 4-second reload base. As you can see, at least with my build that I'm running here. And, well, you've also got access to the Dutch airstrikes. Now, we pick up our first kill there. I mean, I don't know what that Pommern... I mean, you can take a look at what the Pommern was doing. He was just literally pushing straight down the middle, so that was a free kill. But, as I was saying, you get access to Dutch airstrikes. Now, Dutch airstrikes, woo, they're the most fun thing in the game, right? However, these ones are a little bit special. These ones contain a lower amount of planes in the actual squadron compared to especially something like Gernlu or Tromp, and they do drop fairly quickly as well. Because compared to say like PVO, the Gernlu, those planes take a long time to actually release their bombs. Here on the Utrecht, it's actually a lot quicker in comparison, which I do quite like, because it does make trying to lead against enemy targets, especially that are moving, it makes it a little bit easier to actually use these airstrikes. However, as I was saying before, there's a lot less planes in this airstrike compared to the Gernlu or PVO or the Tromp, for example. And that all of a sudden means you can actually shoot down these planes, the entire squadron, especially on some ships, before they're able to strike. Now, I'm doing a smart thing here. I am striking Gernlu, and normally he'd be able to wipe the entire squadron, but he's sitting directly behind an island, so the AA doesn't have enough time to actually shoot down all of the planes. I am running the legendary captain here, and that will become a little bit apparent as to why I'm running it, and I'll explain a little bit later. But he's got a couple of talents there that are worthwhile actually running, especially on this thing, especially compared to something like the Gernlu. Yeah, as I was saying before, these planes can actually be shot down quite easily. But the main thing is you do actually need to have continuous line of sight to those planes the entire time they're on their attacking run-in, right? There has been times when I've not been able to drop a single enemy ship, and that's either due to the fact that they've got like really strong AA, they've got DFAA or something, or they've just been come together with a couple of friendly ships. And if you manage to do so, you're not going to be able to get any strikes out of this thing, which I think is, in my opinion, probably a little bit of a better design compared to Gernlu, which has these massive strikes, and it's really hard to shoot down all of the planes. I mean, it's entirely possible, especially with Gern at the moment using DFAA. You have all the flak wall that goes up, and the planes just eat it because they just travel in a straight line. But I think being able to severely mitigate a lot of these strikes compared to Gern is a little bit better. It's still a little bit tough, though, I will admit, when you're trying to strike something that's continuously moving, like Libertad, and this is pre-nerf Libertad, just keep that in mind. Literally the patch went live the very next day, in which that thing got hit with the nerf hammer a little bit, so you can imagine how difficult it is trying to actually land strikes on that thing. But you can just sit here in the open and you can just farm. And I really do enjoy this kind of playstyle with this ship. Now, you just saw there we actually popped the special talent for this commander, and that is landing at least 50 bomb hits with the airstrikes, and basically then you get an extra airstrike. So instead of having 2 base on the ship, you actually now get 3, and you can actually go ahead and they reload a little bit faster as well from memory. You can't really do that with Gurdon, and the main reason for that, even with legendary mod on that thing, although I do want to kind of experiment, see if I can get full airstrikes with that, is because it does take quite a while for the actual airstrikes to charge up on the Gurdon, and it's a bit more difficult to actually hit the bombs. This thing, it spits out the airstrikes a lot more quickly. I mean, you can see here my reload on the airstrikes is about 30 seconds. It's a lot easier to actually try and strike enemy targets with these bombs, and that's probably the primary way you want to be using this ship, especially if you're sitting behind an island or you're just open water. You do have the range with these bombs to actually be striking people, especially if they're sitting on an island, for example. Favorite target of mine being Moskva's Stalingrads, for example, who think they're going to be hot shit, essentially just sitting there, bow tanking on the side of an island, and well, you got this thing which can just start trying to discourage them from seeing that kind of position, right? My biggest problem when it comes to this ship is, obviously it's a light cruiser, it doesn't have much in the way of armor, and that's to be expected. But my biggest problem is actually comes down to the maneuverability of this thing. This thing is sluggish. I mean, it's stupidly sluggish for a light cruiser in my opinion. And that does make it a little bit tough to play, especially if you're playing at long range. I mean, sure, you do have the speed boost, which does help mitigate it just a little bit. But compared to every other light cruiser I've played, this thing just doesn't handle, in my opinion, nearly quite as well. And that's caught me out quite a fair few times, especially early on when I first got the ship. Oh man, I had some rough experiences where I thought I could accelerate in time, or I could angle in time against a particular enemy ship. That was a big fat nope, you can't do so. So you have to learn how to actually, like, making sure you're in a good position early on. In this game, you'll get to see how I kind of position myself, especially towards the end. It's not necessarily ideal, but it is still a very, very fun ship. Now, would I recommend grinding down this line? I mean, I played through the tier 8. I didn't enjoy the tier 8 that much, I'll be completely honest with you. Tier 9, I don't have that many opinions about, but should you get this thing over the Golden Loop? Now, what's a requirement for this? Okay, when you're looking at the Golden Loop compared to this ship, the Golden Loop, if you want to have the maximum amount of fun with that ship, you want to be investing in the legendary module for that ship, and that's going to require you getting 19,200 research period points to actually be able to equip that module on the ship. This ship, you don't need that, and I know he's currently unavailable. Lisboa, the special Dutch commander, I believe that's his name. I apologize if I just screwed up who I'm thinking about here. But essentially, a legendary... Oh, Lisboa, I think he's the Pan-American one. Please correct me down in the comments. But essentially, the legendary Dutch commander that I've got on this ship here, he is fantastic for this ship. Unfortunately, you're not able to get him at the moment, but I highly suspect he'll come back, especially as a collection reward a little bit later, probably either throughout the year. And if you're able to get him, and it's normally quite easy to do because it only costs coal to complete those collections normally, it makes this ship a lot more enjoyable. But you don't require a legendary module to actually play. Is this ship completely playable without it? Absolutely. You don't need the special commander for this, although it does just enhance the flavor of the ship just that little bit more. And especially if you have something like Prince von Orange, or you've got, say, Trump as well, having the benefit of the airstrike, as well as as you can see here, every time you get 50k damage, you get, like, I think it's 1.5% increase into your just HE damage and stuff. It just makes it a little bit nicer, right? You only get benefits from having that kind of legendary commander, and eventually you'll be able to get him back, and because Wargaming doesn't tend to gatekeep those kind of like veteran or seasoned commanders at all, so you'll be able to get those eventually. This thing has got decent AP as well, I would say. I struggle with it. It's not been the most consistent, but especially if you find light cruiser broadsides. Unfortunately, this Chikamato here for me, he was just a bit too far away, so I wasn't actually able to get any citadels here with the AP, but you can still do huge amounts of damage, as you can see. And this is the part where my maneuverability screws me over. I try to slow down here, I try to turn in, but see the torpedo, you can't really maneuver with this thing. But regardless, this thing is a ton of fun. I would say if you're interested in going down the Dutch cruisers, consider picking this thing up. It is a lot of fun. You do have both benefits and negatives to playing with it, as you do with any ship. It's a lot of fun. But taking a look at this results here, as you can see, we've got Wither, Confederates, a Kraken there as well, 2.5k base experience, top of the team, and it's just a stupid fun ship. I don't have too much to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys actually found it useful. If you've got any questions or anything you want to let me know down in the comments, please do let me know. And if you wanted to know what the best modifications to run in World of Warships 2025 are, you're going to want to click on this video here.